burning and roasting. Yeah, that's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, the gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all. Sounds like a party just about to begin, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Big hello and shout-out to all of our radio listeners, because we are on the radio at a number of stations around the country.
That's pretty exciting, right?
And
High Battle
growing.
Creek.
Yeah, we're also available.
Virginia.
We're also available on High New Orleans. We're also available on all the major podcast platforms, and you can find us on YouTube as well for the video version.
We got
of
a couple
show.
towns in Texas too.
Yes, we do. It's very
happy. That's hometown.
Very exciting. Welcome to show number 413. That is 413.
Cruz, you sound like you've done this before.
Yeah,
Maybe 413
maybe 412 times. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, and if you do the math, which I'm not good at, so maybe you can help me with it, but I believe that this at 413,
this is going to put us right at the halfway mark to 500.
Halfway to 500.
Ooh, almost there.
It's good to be there.
I've done the math.
Well, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. On today's program, we will honor somebody that I think of as the grandfather of craft beer.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with
And
this.
he passed away recently. In fact,
I definitely know where you're going
as
with
we
this.
record this, he is lying in state in Washington, D.C. Former President Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
And now, regardless what you think of Jimmy Carter as a president,
Politics
or
aside.
where your politics lie, it is indisputable that Jimmy Carter was directly responsible for opening up the legality of home brewing in the United States of America.
I actually didn't know that.
Yep,
Yes.
he was the guy that made it possible, because before he changed this law, it was not legal to brew your own beer in your garage or your basement. or wherever.
I heard the story.
And this
I
was
don't-
as president he did this?
I don't know the
president.
story
Okay.
very intimately, but I heard the story that his brother.
Well, his brother was a big beer guy. Remember Billy
Right,
Carter?
right.
Yeah, he drank a
and
lot of beer.
That had a lot. I think his brother had a lot to do with that.
Well, then we'll salute Billy Carter as well today, which, by the way, those words may not have ever been spoken before. Jimmy Carter, sure. But Billy, yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever said salute Billy Carter.
He didn't get his proper
Yeah,
thanks for that.
I could be wrong, or maybe I'm mixing up stories, but I think I read a story that his brother really influenced that decision because his brother wanted to make beer.
Maybe he's the co-grandfather.
Perhaps he is. In any event, it was home brewing that ultimately led to the first craft breweries, with maybe a couple of exceptions, Boston Beer and the guys out in San Francisco at Anchor Steam. But it was the home brewing revolution that caused the proliferation of craft beer, because some people started making stuff and their friends would go, this isn't half bad. And they thought, maybe we could sell it. And the American dream happened and prospered. And here we are today.
And before that, it was just illegal to do that?
It was not legal. Just like it's not legal to make your own moonshine, for example.
Okay.
Maybe it is now. But
but
for a long, long time it wasn't. I'm not sure if I'm right about that or not. But definitely home brewing was not considered a legal thing.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
You would be an outlaw.
So Jimmy Carter, we salute you.
Jimmy Carter.
Billy Carter, we salute you. And
salute.
And
I'm sorry. What did you say?
I'm not sure. It got caught in the filter somewhere there. So. On today's program,
Cheers.
we will be tasting some craft beers of our own. Well, they're ours now. We'll drink them, and then they'll be gone. From Blanco, Texas, and the Real Ale Brewing Company. We'll be trying
All
their...
right, you said real ale. You already have me.
Okay. Well,
I love real ale.
I think you'll like this beer, or there's a good chance you will. It's their Proto Pils.
Oh, I haven't tried that.
A New World Pilsner, what they call a New World
Nice. Proto
Pilsner.
Pils.
Proto
Love
Pils,
it.
yep.
That also has a little double entendre there. Proto Pills.
Also from McKinney, Texas, Tupps Brewery. We'll be trying trying, and perfect timing for this, we'll be trying their double dry hopped IPA called R.I.P. 2024.
Tupps Brewery has a little turtle on it, doesn't it?
I think they do have a turtle, do they?
Is that
We'll look at the can.
maybe?
And see
Okay, yeah.
but in any case, this is their R.I.P. 2024. So this is their send-off for the year that was.
Nice.
So we'll do that. And then because no program would be complete without something that was 12% alcohol by volume or higher, from Rhinegeist Brewery in Cincinnati, Ohio, their bourbon barrel-aged Night Whale. It's an Imperial
you
stout.
had me at 12%.
I know. And some tequila on today's show, the Prefiero. Thank you.
It's easy for you to say.
God bless you.
Prefiero tequila. I had to look at the bottle because looking at my notes, it just didn't want to come out. So
I don't smell good.
So we'll also talk about some cigars to watch for, and the lists are basically
The
out.
lists are out.
Now, we did record a lot of shows in December so we could have a little time off
That was
for the
nice.
holidays. I think some of them may have even run out of order. It was a
special fun event.
Yeah, it really was. But we're now definitely into the new year far enough that these lists are beginning to come out. The Cigar Aficionado list of
Yes.
the top 25 is out. We'll talk about that. And I think I just got another list from Cigar Snob, their top 25 of 2024.
And you did put it on your list of lists, right?
I do, yeah. The list of I have a
List
whole
of
list of lists
lists.
here. Now I do have some bad news.
This is
And
true.
sometimes
by
you
the
got to
way.
make a list of the list that you're going to make lists of.
Right, and it's important that there be a list that you can refer to of those lists.
That's
Yes.
correct.
So that you can check things off of the lists. But a little bad news as we wade our way into the brand new year. In addition to the passing of the grandfather of craft beer, something that I almost feel like we may be partially responsible for this. So I want to apologize.
I have no idea what's
in
happening
advance.
here.
Yeah.
Oliva's raising their prices.
What?
Yeah. It happens around this time every year that
Okay.
different brands will announce their. But haven't we said to Trenton several times
We
from
have.
Oliva that we can't believe that they are able to put out such quality cigars at such
And then
reasonable.
you say,
I
please
just
don't
wanna
listen
point
to us when
something
we
out.
say that.
I am actually texting with Trenton right now
Yeah.
about a time for him to come on this show.
So text the word "grr." he'll then wonder what that's all about. But no. Cane, Flor de Oliva, Gilberto Oliva, Nub, Oliva Connecticut Reserve, Master Blends 3, Oliva Series G, O, V, and the V Maduro, and all of their samplers and private labels are increasing by 3%.
Okay, so it was going to happen
Yeah,
because they've been too reasonably priced for too long.
right.
And the market has
Has definitely changed. Yeah, There's no
definitely
question.
gone up.
Oliva Serie V Milanio and Serie V Milanio Maduro are going up by 5%.
Ouch.
So the best one's going up even more.
And those that master blend Churchill.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Interestingly enough, Half Wheel has provided us a list of cigar companies that say they are or are not raising their prices in 2025. Drew Estate is, El Septimo is, Oscar Valadares is, Perdomo is. Guess who's not raising their prices? AJ Fernandez.
AJ Fernandez.
You go, AJ. I'm a fan.
Well, so there's a couple in there though, like on that list that you said that haven't raised their prices in a long time or
Right.
have been reasonable. I guess at this point, past the point of reasonability,
reasonability. or something like that. Yeah.
Make it make sense. You know what I'm trying to say.
So we have a number of things we like to do in this first segment. So while we still have time, let me give you my teaser headlines for both the Drinking Fact and for Drinking News.
I want you
which we do in
guys
the
to
second
pretend
hour of
I'm
the show.
playing ukulele because I didn't forget my ukulele today. I just wanted to play the
Air ukulele.
air ukulele.
Maybe you could hum.
That never turns out well. Go ahead. He's better at it than I am.
Our Drinking Fact teaser headline. I can't believe we're on the radio and doing this. What color are your eyes? That's our Drinking Fact teaser headline. And our Drinking News.
Yeah, there you go.
Our Drinking News teaser headline. The dog was okay.
That
Very nice. So, like I said, let's talk about. Oh, and as a matter of fact, we want to not only talk about but taste the bomb today.
Ooh,
and
the
I
bomb.
brought it.
The
So,
beverage
Terry, if you would,
of mystery.
The beverage of mystery.
The beverage of mystery is very pink.
kind of
It is.
a peach color, don't you think? Yeah.
Ooh. Is that a peach smell or a grapefruit smell?
I'm not
Peach
sure
smell.
what
No,
that
it's,
is.
it's kind of a peach pit
Peach.
kind of smell.
Yeah.
Speaking of Peach Pit, I just talked about that band earlier.
You did before we went on the air. You were telling me I should check them out. And I
Yes,
will.
they're actually pretty enjoyable.
Peach Pit. All right.
Peach Pit.
Well, is it peach I'm getting here or grapefruit?
think so.
My,
I think-
my taster is confused.
I know, and the color matches either one. So
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Funny how the color influences what you feel like you're going to taste.
interesting. Okay, so I get peach, and I get where you're coming from with the grapefruit, but I think the grapefruit is there's a citrusy thing on the back of this too,
Right?
and also I think because it has it's pretty massively carbonated,
Yeah.
so I think that spicy and the citrusy is making it taste like grapefruit. But I'm definitely getting peach.
I'm getting peach. Yeah. Now that I really taste it, I'm really getting peach off of it. You're right, and I taste exactly what you're talking about in the back.
What about the finish? Are you getting an artificial sweetener thing on the finish?
I'm getting a kiss of it, but it's not that bad.
You're right.
There's also
Yes,
a little spice.
little.
There's also a little spice on the back, almost like a ginger.
Yeah, there's,
Oh, yeah.
It's like there's something that's when you get the sweetener taste, it covers it up. Like it's something that
It's-
shows itself right then and covers it up for
The
you.
sweetener taste is building, though. Like every consecutive sip, it gets a little more in the aftertaste.
Agreed. Yes, agreed. I'm thinking this is not too bad.
No.
It's not. This is drinkable. This is drinkable. I like that there's a little bit of sour to this as well.
Well, yes, there's
Just a kiss
definitely a
of
little
sour.
sour on the finish, and maybe that helps keep the artificial
yeah,
sweetener
yeah,
taste
mask-
at bay.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
It
I
has
think
a
so.
creamish thing.
So
think so.
It is drinkable. Is it long drinkable?
I think that I could drink a couple of these, but I think if I drank too many of them, I would be like, all right, I don't know.
Hey, is that a beverage of mystery in your pocket, or are you just happy to see us?
I am happy to see you, and it is the finished long drink.
The finish.
Legend. Actually, it says, the finish. You're
The
right.
finish.
Hard to read with
From
that
Finland.
color. From Finland. It is peach, and it is 5.5% ABV. There is the long drink
It's
can.
so funny. I actually have this in my refrigerator. I have
Do you
two
really?
cans of this. Yes.
Have you?
My
had you-
wife likes the long drink, and there's some different flavors. And I was just digging. I had to do the clear out the fridge thing, at the end of the new year because stuff. And I found two cans of it, and I thought about bringing it in as beverage of mystery.
my beer fridge, which is one of those kind of short fridges, but it's not like the tiny one. It's like a medium-sized short
Mid-sized fridge.
Yeah, short fridge.
Almost the size like if you had a wine.
Right.
yeah.
The bottom shelf is tall enough for some of the taller cans to stand up, and my bottom shelf is now full of beverages of mystery that we've had before that I had to buy a 4 or a 6 pack of that are just now littering the bottom shelf.
You need to stick those in the work fridge.
I think maybe I do. It might go over. So long drink peach, not bad.
Not bad. Yeah.
As
no, it's not
these
bad.
canned
Better
cocktails
than
go.
most.
And they come in different flavors, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a few. There's the original flavor. I think comes in a blue can, and then there's a few other flavors that they've come out with.
And by the way, it's gluten free.
Oh, that's good.
And I know you were
glutens.
worried about that. So, all right,
We
we
have
got
released all the glutens.
to take a break. We have a lot to do on today's show, including tasting, going over some of these cigar lists, and maybe even getting to 20 must-visit breweries in the United States.
right now.
So we'll be back with Smoking and Testing. Welcome back, my friends. This is Smoking and Toasting, show number 413. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Speaking of hand-rolled cigars, you have the opportunity to smoke anything interesting this
I
week?
had the opportunity to smoke a hand-rolled cigar, my friend.
I am not surprised.
This
how
was
did it
made
go?
by Arturo Fuente.
Oh,
have you ever heard of that
I've heard
guy?
of them. Yeah.
This is a 1960 Rare Pink.
Ooh, I have heard about this cigar. I have not smoked one.
And this was in the short story mini perfecto size.
Okay.
So we've seen this size from them in the Hemingway series.
Right.
But this is the Rare Pink. And I totally forgot to write down the wrapper, binder, and filler on this, which I'll fill in a little bit.
Okay.
Coming in at $7.50 for it's a
pretty small cigar. Yeah.
It's 4 inches by 42 to 49 because it's a mini Perfecto. It actually changes ring bands from one end to the other. The appearance on this dual band that they have on this covers 75% of the cigar, which sounds like a lot, but it's a 4-inch cigar, so it's not that much. The wrapper itself, when you peel the band off, has a ruddy brown, kind of a reddish brown kind of thing with a little chocolatiness looking in there, and a few veins. Few veins are visible on this, smooth and oily, firm feel overall. The pre-light sniff on this, sweet earth and leather, classic tobacco, and a bunch of wood. I used a V cut on this. It had a pretty tight draw, which is expected with a Perfecto because it comes down to a point at the end. Sweet classic tobacco on the lips. On the initial light, the draw opens up immediately on lighting. Big, spicy, and woody notes burst onto the palate with leather and a lingering tingle on the lips and tongue. The retrohale is woody and white pepper. The first third of this cigar, massive mouthfuls of smoke. That's so funny because you're smoking this tiny cigar, and every time you take a puff, it's this massive amount of smoke.
Flavor. Well,
I absolutely love it. The smoke had this nice big mouthfeel on it as well. Massive mouthfuls of smoke bursting with wood, white pepper, sweet nuttiness, and coffee. Retrohale is nutty and woody, solid ash, perfect burn. Proposed pairing with this espresso martini.
Ooh,
that's what I wanted.
Nice.
But what I had at the house was Penderyn sherry cask, and that was pretty darn good.
All right, I'm with you.
So the second third of this, wood and leather with sweet coffee, underlying salted earth, and a distinctive mineral note were popping up in the background here. Ramps up to medium strength here. Retrohale is woody and nutty with white pepper, solid ash, perfect burn. The last third of the cigar, nutty, white pepper, earthy, mineral, and a touch of chocolate. So these are things that, like,
these are all good things.
Yes, things that like it kept kind of like coming back with the same things and then adding one more thing. Like that was kind of what was happening. It's a little chocolate towards the end of this. Retrohale was woody and nutty, solid ash, perfect burn, coming in at $7.50
for a small cigar,
4-inch cigar. However, 6.
Wow,
complex.
Wow,
delicious, fantastic. Now, if you want a short smoke.
My understanding is the pinks are very limited. Like this is not something that's the regular production line.
Yes, this comes out.
It's like smoke them if you find them, sort of thing. Yeah.
How long did that take you to smoke?
It took about 35 minutes.
Okay,
not bad for a small cigar.
Yeah, for 4-inch cigar, this is not bad. But also, still under $10.
Yeah.
And we've had some pretty expensive small cigars. So but so this one is not terribly pricey. It is a little more rare, but man, was it good. And it's a very different flavor profile from what I expect from the Arturo Fuentes, especially from the Hemingway,
right?
Which is what it looks like. It looks like one of the little Hemingway short stories.
So I will be curious to know what kind of tobacco was in it. Whether it was, I know they're made in the Dominican Republic.
I had it. And I forgot to just put it on my thing, so I just have to look it up.
All right. While you look it up, maybe it's time for us to do the drinking fact. Terry, would you be so kind?
Let's see if I can find the sound effects again. And now it's time for another smoking and toasting drinking fact.
The fanfare.
It's a feature that only exists at this point because of the fanfare.
Because of the fanfare.
Yeah, I continue to look for drinking facts. I'll be honest, I'm running out of them. So before I do this, I'll take a quick survey, you guys. If I can't find any more drinking facts at some point in the near future, should I just recycle old ones, or should we get rid of the bit?
I think either recycle old ones or we just start making them up.
We start inventing drinking facts.
Smoking and toasting fictional drinking facts.
Drinking fiction.
Drinking fiction. I like that. Or what did they call it? One of the government aides during one of the previous administrations referred to it as alternative facts.
Oh, alternative
facts.
I like that.
That's facts that wear a lot of flannel and mope and look at their shoes a lot. All right. Today's drinking fact, however, is a true one. It's factual. It's a fact.
It is real.
According to a study from 2015, light-eyed Americans, light color eyes, of European descent consume more alcohol than dark-eyed Americans of European descent.
Wow.
I would just point out that you're a light-eyed American.
Yeah, exactly. Me too, actually.
Yes.
Me too.
So apparently we fall into the category. What I find interesting is that in 2015, someone paid for a study based on alcohol consumption and the color of your eyes.
Well, they deserve fanfare just for that.
I think they do.
Thank you for that.
That, my friends, is how it's supposed to be. All right. But we got to take a break. I'm going to tell you about my cigar this week. Plus, we're going to get into these lists of the top 25 cigars of the year, both from Cigar Aficionado and from Cigar Snob, which that's a magazine I really like.
Cigar Snob,
I actually enjoy when that arrives in the mailbox every month. That's just
I love that the name of the magazine is a little tongue-in-cheek as well.
Yep. I think it's
or
awesome.
on the nose, as it were.
We are Cigar Snobs as well, although we're average, everyday, ordinary snobs, not elitist snobs. I think that's an important distinction.
I don't smoke a lot of Davidoffs.
I'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Big thanks to the Houston-based Gulf Coast funk band, The Suffers, who've allowed us to use their music. I mean, we can do whatever we want on the radio, but on the podcast, we have to have permission to be able to use the music, and these guys have graciously allowed us to do that. And so I would just say, in return, check out The Suffers, especially if you're not from the greater Houston area. They are so good and so wonderful, and their music is just so much fun. Love it. Welcome back to the program. It's craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. That's what we talk about here, and we are Smoking and Toasting. This is show number 400, and did I say 414 today? Is that right? I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. No, 13.
413.
413.
Gotcha.
An editor's note on my cigar, that was an Ecuadorian wrapper, Dominican binder, and Dominican and Nicaragua filler.
Interesting. So I'm going to venture into the DR with my cigar this week, and that's interesting for me because I have a tendency to kind of stay in the world of Nicaragua when it comes to tobacco. That's just where some of my favorites are. But I smoked this week the La Galera 1936 box-pressed El Lector Toro. And
I mean, that's a lot of syllables. It sounds
it
awesome.
certainly is. We talk a lot about different curators of tobacco and blenders of cigars here on the show, and I admit I do talk about AJ Fernandez quite a bit. You probably hadn't noticed, but anyway, one that I admit we probably don't give enough love to is Jose Hochi Blanco, the master blender from La Galera.
Jose Blanco.
With the move towards more and more cigars using Nicaraguan tobacco, it's easy to lose sight of some of the fine work that's being done in the Dominican Republic, as Ian, kind of pointed out with his cigar. So we'll try to right both of those wrongs here on the show today, and I'm going to talk to you about the La Galera 1936 box-pressed El Lector Toro. It is, as you will see, an absolutely beautiful cigar. 6x54, medium brown, nicely box pressed, with a very smooth outer wrapper, which is Ecuadorian Habano tobacco. The binder is a Dominican Republic Criollo 98, grown on Hochi's La Canela farm, and the filler is a mix of Pilato Cubano and Criollo 98, both from the Dominican Republic as well. The pre-light sniff gave me notes of hay, raisin, and dried fruit. And once I used my V-cutter, the cold draw was caramel, maple syrup, and a hint of pepper, along with that raisin note that I mentioned. I torched the end and got things started with a surprising citrus note coming to the forefront very quickly. Pepper, baking spices, and an oaky note balanced themselves very nicely for the first third. The burn was a little uneven, but not a problem, so I let it go on its own, and it wound up being fine. The second third of the 1936 box pressed saw the pepper note morph into more of a red pepper flavor, and a creamy sweetness underscored and balanced that pepper, while the zesty citrus vibe continued. A note of black coffee emerged in the final third, bitter but enjoyable. I got some earth and a hint of leather as well, with a trace of anise or licorice or anise. Do you pronounce it anise or anise? Anise or licorice on the finish.
I've also heard it anise, but I think it's anise. I don't know.
Yeah. The big word for this cigar was balance. all of these flavors balanced each other extremely well. There was plenty of pepper, but it never turned into a pepper bomb. This cigar practically begs to be paired with a whiskey. I tagged it up with a nice glass of Doc Swinson's Bottled and Bond Straight Rye.
Doc Swinson's
and they
delicious.
felt like long-lost friends getting back together after a long absence. I loved the boldness of the cigar. It was medium-bodied, leaning slightly towards medium to full, but the flavors were bold and big, proving that Dominican tobacco doesn't have to be just mild and Macanudo-type cigars. The La Galera stood right up next to most Nicaraguan smokes in strength and in flavor. The La Galera 1936 box-pressed El Lector Toro is a $9 to $10 cigar and worth every penny. Maybe even a little more. So price to quality, a well-deserved 6.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh, 2 6s?
2 6s.
2 6s
today.
on
Yeah.
the
Dominican tobacco tends to have that very smoky kind of quality.
You
to
know,
it.
I will be honest, when I first got into cigars, I smoked almost exclusively Dominicans. And over time, as my palate evolved a little bit, I started wanting bigger and bolder flavor. I had a tendency to gravitate towards Nicaraguan, but it's nice to go back and revisit that Dominican profile, especially when it kind of packs its own punch and is full flavored like this one really was. So I was very impressed and recommend it very, very highly. So a lot to talk about on the program today. And one of the things we want to get into is the best cigars of the year from both Cigar Aficionado and from Cigar Snob. So let's start with Cigar Aficionado and see where we go from here. And we'll start at the bottom. Oh, are you trying to tell me by waving cups at me that I didn't get the beer for this segment?
I was just thinking maybe we should have a beer for this segment because I could, you're doing a whole lot of that talking thing that you do. I figured that what I could do is I could pour beers.
I'm enjoying leftover show beers.
Leftover show beer.
You're quite good at the beer pouring, if I do say so myself.
I practice it a lot. And actually, so when I'm left to my own devices at my house, I almost always pour beer into a glass. I don't like a chilled glass at all. But
I'm a chilled glass.
Yeah, I like
do
chilled
love
glasses.
beer
Why
out
do
of
you not
glass.
like chilled glass? Why the preference of not chilled in the glass?
Because a chilled glass to me, it's kind of like having a chip of ice you can't get rid of or something. I don't know. And sometimes you even get like little bits of ice in your beer.
I like that.
See, my favorite way to drink a beer, favorite, it doesn't happen that often, is when the beer is so cold and you pour it into the frosted glass and little ice crystals form along the top.
Yes,
I
I'm
hate
there.
that.
I'm with
See,
that.
I
No, I'm
love
with
it.
you on that.
I love
I'm with
it.
Cruz on that.
I
Yep.
hate that.
Yep.
Yep. So, and I like that with martinis too, as
Well, that's definitely different with martinis.
as the Reverend Horton Heat once so eloquently said in his song "It's Martini Time."
Martini time.
Make it with a layer of ice this time.
Oh, nice.
I love that song. In fact, whenever I make martinis, because my wife loves martinis, I'll make martinis and she'll be like in the other room or whatever, and they'll be ready. I put on the Reverend Horton Heat, and that's like her summon.
She knows.
That's her
It's
summon.
the siren
to
song.
come to the kitchen because the
dinner bell for
martinis are
martinis.
ready.
It's the siren song. Now every time that song comes on, she has a Pavlovian response.
That's right. And
Martini time.
then when I make margaritas, I play One Margarita by Luke Bryan.
There you go.
And so the problem is when I make gimlets, I have not found a gimlet song. So if anyone knows of a good gimlet song, please
Does anything
email me.
rhyme with gimlet?
I don't know. Flimlet? I don't know. You can make something up. All right. So Ian's poured the beer. While we taste this, let's dip our toe into this list, shall we? Number 25 on Cigar Aficionado's list of the 25 best cigars.
I hate to stop your list.
Yes.
This beer
Yeah.
is outrageously good.
Oh, interesting. So let's talk about the beer then. Real Ale Brewing is in Blanco, Texas, right up in the hill country, north of San Antonio.
It is so malty, beautiful up front.
This is called Proto Pils. It is what they call at Real Ale a New World Pilsner.
It's like they dug into my brain and know exactly what I want out of a beer.
I wonder if AI was involved, because AI can do that. you
yeah,
know?
can
It
get in your
dig
brain.
into your brain.
Yeah.
You're right. It's pretty darn good.
So there's a beer that I keep meaning to bring on the show, but I keep drinking it instead, called All Malt
Yes.
from
Is that
Equal
from
Parts Brewing.
Equal Parts, yep.
and this is very similar to that All Malt. It is it's a It's so good. It's malt forward. And I absolutely love it. And there's enough hops to just bitter and crisp the end, but it's not a huge hop profile. And it is so good. I love that malt finish. I love the malt aftertaste.
So the Proto Pills, there's not a lot of information about it on the can.
And for those of you who don't understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the malt thing, okay?
Yep.
You definitely know what the hop thing is because you've had IPAs and you've had tons of beers, even lagers that were influenced by IPAs and have that
and have a
huge
hoppiness. Yep.
Hoppy finish. Malt up front is that round cereal, bready kind of note that's usually has a little sweetness to it.
Almost like a baking
if you've ever
spice.
had a super fresh New Belgium, what's their flagship? The
you're talking about Fat Tire?
Fat Tire. If you've ever had a super fresh Fat Tire from a keg, you've had that malty profile front, or at least a bit of it. But this is everything I want in a Pilsner. This is amazing.
Yeah, it is really quite good, and it's like the finish on it is so clean and crisp.
Yes,
it's almost Kolsch-like the way it finishes.
Yes,
but the flavor is more malty.
Yes.
Also, look at this; it's not super thin.
Right,
like the mouthfeel is bigger than the color of this beer would even.
No, you're right. It you would almost expect from the color, you'd expect it to drink more like a Miller Lite or maybe a Modelo, something more on the macro beer scale. But this is not that at all.
And it's got a little more carbonation than generally I would say I want in a beer. However, it works.
But I like that.
It works with this particular beer. It adds a little spice to the beer.
I feel like we're maybe bringing this forward at the wrong time because this would be such an excellent summer beer. I mean,
yes. Well,
hanging out by the pool.
I would drink this floating down the river.
Yeah,
that's not a problem. But I'll drink this in the middle of winter. I don't,
for sure. But I'm just saying, if you were hanging out by the pool and had a cooler full of these, that would be a good Saturday.
This
right?
would be
and it's coming in at 4.5, so very sessionable.
In fact, I'll have some more.
It's really good. I'm sorry.
This is good stuff.
So you wanted to talk about a list or something?
Yeah, I know. We got distracted by excellent beer, and that's a thing that I'm okay with. Yes, 100%. It's just fine. All right, so let's start on this list. It's going to take us a while to get through this, and maybe the other one. But Cigar Aficionado, their top 25 of the year. They start at number 25 with the Tatuaje Reserva A Uno. Now, I know you're a fan of Tatuaje.
I am.
Have you had this particular cigar?
I don't think I have. Let me
look at it.
Nope.
That's what it looks like. It is a Nicaraguan filler and binder and an Ecuadorian wrapper. That's becoming a pretty popular combination.
It's a great combination. The Ecuadorian has such that the salty earthiness, and the Ecuadorian and the Nicaraguan has the big pepper and the boldness from it. It's nice. It's a super nice combination together.
So it says in the documentation here that although most Tatuaje cigars are rolled in Nicaragua at my father's cigar factory, some Reservas are made in Miami, and this Reserva A Uno is one of them. And it's
nice.
9 inches long, more than 9 inches long, which is an old format that has almost disappeared. Full-bodied cigar marries notes of dark chocolate, espresso, and red pepper spice with hints of leather and earth.
I will buy one of those. I love ridiculous sized cigars.
And that would be good for floating down the river, like you said.
That would be amazing for floating down the river.
That would totally work. At number 24, from a company that I'm really starting to become quite a fan of, largely because they rescued the Timeless brand from Nat Sherman.
You're talking about
Fierro Tego.
Fierro Tego. Yeah.
But this is one of their other cigars. It is the Fierro Tego, coming in at number 24, the Suma Corona Gorda. And
I haven't tried that.
It is wrapper from Ecuador, binder from Ecuador, and filler from the Dominican Republic and Nicaragua. It seemed that all of the Nat Sherman premium brands were faded for oblivion when they closed down after they got bought by a big cigar company, which then just like put them out of business. Why do companies do that? Why do companies pay millions of dollars for another company and then basically just put them out of business?
Because of competition. They want to eliminate the competition. But the thing is that when you have seen that a company is a competition enough for you that you're worried about it so much that you're going to come up with all that money to buy it, why did you waste just buying it so you can throw it in the trash? Why not take that product and as well make money off of it?
Why
and
not
keep
have
it
the
going?
healthy competition and have both paying you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You do
I mean,
realize
even if you're competing between yourself.
That's what what's it called? Arctic and Yeti. So Yeti had this is as far as I understand it, they had a lawsuit out against Arctic for the exact
copying
same
their design. Basically.
Oh, really?
Well, when they settled, Yeti owns a portion of Arctic, so every time Arctic sells something, Yeti gets paid.
See, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
that's just like
that's healthy competition.
Right,
that's
exactly.
like Frito and Lay when they got together and put the company together. They really did. They were like, the guy went to him and he was like, Lay's potato chips, like, hey, let's get with Fritos. You have this side, I have that side. Let's put all our stuff together and we'll make money.
Yeah,
and
man.
they did.
And they did
competition
enough that they were able to pay the lawsuits over the Frito Bandito. Remember that? I miss the Frito. You know what I miss even more than
My
the
dad
Frito
used to sing
Bandito?
that song to me.
You know what I miss even more than the Frito Bandito? I'm showing my age here. The Yoquito Taco Bell dog.
Oh, yes, Yoquito.
I loved that.
Why was there a lawsuit over the Frito Bandito?
Because he was, potentially racist.
appropriating.
Oh.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I thought he went away before anything counted
Implying
like
that because he was a bandito, that was just because of his accent and his heritage. So,
The whole Speedy Gonzalez thing. In other words.
exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
All right, we got to take a break. We've only gotten to the number 25 cigar. This may be a long show. We'll be right back. It's Smoking and Toasting. I love that sound. It's very Pavlovian in a way, you know? Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. As Ian pours yet another craft beer, let me return to this list that we've knocked one off of so far of the Cigar Aficionado
we
Top
talked
25
about two.
cigars
Come
of the
on.
year. All right, well, we were talking about, before we got so rudely interrupted by a wonderful craft beer.
That was such a good beer.
We were
That was
talking about the
really
Fiero Tego Summa Corona Gorda. And Nat Sherman, this is one of the Nat Sherman brands. When Fiero Tego was formed, they actually bought the rights to Timeless, Metropolitan, and Epoca from what was Nat Sherman that was put out of business by one of the big cigar companies. Anyway, after buying those and re-releasing some of those, they also released some of their own really good just Fiero Tego under the Fiero Tego brand. And the Summa Corona Gorda is one of those. It comes in at number 24 on Cigar Aficionado's list. They say it stands out with a spicy core of black and red pepper, accented by notes of roasted chestnut, leather, orange peel, and cocoa powder. So that comes in
That sounds
at number
really
24.
good.
So I have not had cigar number 25 or number 24. I also have not had number 23, which is from Warped. It's the Warped Corto X52 with a
this
blue
is
band.
apparently a list of cigars I need to go have.
Yeah, all of them I'm interested in if I haven't smoked them before. Corto from Warped Cigars first came to market in 2015 in a single size that was only 4.5 inches long. Corto means short in Spanish, but anyway, they decided to do it a little bit longer, a little bit thicker, but still on the shorter side. The blend remained the same: Corojo 99 wrapper and binder, and a filler combination of Criollo 98 and Corojo 99 tobacco, all grown by Aganor Salif in Nicaragua. And it comes in the Warped Corto X52 comes in at number 23 on the Cigar Aficionado list. At number 22, have you had this one? The one-off Black and Tan Robusto. Now, for those who are listening,
Black and Tan, no.
one off is the cigars that have on the band, the band that goes around the cigar. It'll have like a peace sign.
Yes.
Right. And
they've had like the 300 Monos and a few others, right?
One off has a pretty complicated past, but apparently the Black and Tan is their newest spinoff, and it comes in only one size. Not much has been disclosed. Cigar Aficionado says about the specifics of the tobacco, other than it contains a varietal that's not typically grown in Nicaragua Nicaragua. They say it's a brilliant smoke with tasty notes of shortbread, caramel, marzipan, pecan, and more. And that sounds really interesting to me because those are not
really good.
notes that
Marzipan
I normally get
that's an
in
interesting one
cigars.
to have in there, right?
Right. Marzipan, which is that almondish flavor that is best known for candies.
Can I have another piece of marzipan, please?
Okay, I have smoked this next cigar, number 21. It's the La Flor Dominicana Double de Hedo Chiselito Maduro. And you want to talk about a cigar that will knock you on your ass if you're not prepared?
Make sure you have breakfast before you start that cigar.
It's one of the most full-bodied cigars I think of. In fact, when you're talking about cigars and you want an example of something that's really strong, really full-bodied, the chisel or the chiselito is where you go. It's small and intense. It delivers prominent notes of toasted coconut, wet leather, raisin, and dark chocolate, and delivers them with a punch. It's a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. This is definitely not recommended for cigar smoking novices. For sure.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you really enjoy a full flavored cigar before you fire one of those up. They are fantastic, though. I absolutely love that.
So we'll get to number 20 before we try this beer. Number 20 is the Cohiba Riviera Robusto. And the Cohiba Riviera Robusto is the one with the purple label. And this is the red dot Cohiba, so it's not the Cuban Cohiba, but the one that you can buy legally in the United States. It's from General Cigar Company. It's the first time, by the way, the article says, that a non-Cuban Cohiba has placed on Cigar Aficionado's top 25 rankings since they began the rankings in 2004. It's also the first Cohiba in a Mexican wrapper, as well as the first time that General Cigars Cohiba has ever been box pressed. It is a Mexican San Andres wrapper, Honduras binder from Honduras, and filler from Honduras and Nicaragua. Chocolate-like smoke, they say, with notes of oak, spice, and leather before a sweet and nutty
Does it
finish.
have a price range on that one?
Yes, it's $20.
Yeah, see,
and it's a Robusto.
This is the thing about Cohiba cigars is all the Cohiba cigars I've had, excluding two, have been very expensive, and they're all good.
Yeah.
But they're just really expensive.
Now,
it's a little like Davidoff. Davidoff cigars are very good.
Oh, by the way, you mentioned Davidoff in a previous segment, and you just mentioned them again, so now you owe Davidoff money twice.
I'm sure they just hit my account.
Yeah, I think they do. It's kind of like
they just hit my account for
it's kind of like if you say Super Bowl, the NFL just deducts it automatically from your bank account. Yeah. So, sorry.
You use their name a couple times in a sentence. That's right.
Yeah, and if you're saying things like, wow.
I like to think that the CEO somewhere goes, someone just.
And if you say something like, wow.
No.
This year, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl while smoking a big old Davidoff cigar. See, you just paid. That's a very expensive sentence. Yeah.
The only thing you can do make it worse is add that Michael Buffer, because he's the one that whenever someone says it, he goes, I won't even say it right now because
let's get ready to smoke a Davidoff and watch the Super Bowl.
He's the one who's like, huh? What? Oh, yeah. I heard that. I heard that.
Dude, you talk about a guy who basically stumbled across what made him rich.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Yeah. So if you don't know what Terry's talking about, it's the guy that used to open the fights with boxing. Let's Get Ready to Rumble.
Yes.
And he did that signature delivery.
Yes.
And if you do that, you owe him money.
Yes, if you do that in your things and stuff.
He has it service marked.
Yes, he does.
Amazing. I want to service mark something like
there's a
something
guy,
we do here on the show. See if I can make my
Hispanic broadcaster that's famous for his long
goal.
I wonder if he's service marked it and gets paid anytime anybody else does it.
Yeah.
One would wonder. I want to try to come up with something on the show as we go through the rest of the show. Let's come up with something that I can service mark and make money whenever anyone else says it.
Whiskey good.
Yeah.
I believe I said that once.
Yeah, maybe you should service mark that.
Maybe.
You've also said beer good, so let's find out if this beer is good. This is the Tupps Brewing R.I.P. 2024 double dry hopped India Pale Ale. It is 7.2%, and it's an interesting can because they've got little, illustrations that are kind of like nods to different things, I suppose, from 2024.
Did you say there was did you find your
Rough
turtle?
Days in Cheddar Bay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lobster that says, I declare bankruptcy. There's my big, beautiful ear.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention in 2024. I don't know what any of those mean.
Robots are taking over.
Okay, that one I can be.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Let's see.
That.
Still shouting ceasefire.
Okay, I'm going to shout about this beer. This is a really
There's an
good.
Alaska Airline airplane that says, the door is gone.
Okay, now that we know.
Okay,
That's
I get
Boeing.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we know. We know about that one.
Someone left the door open.
There's a heart looking very sad, and he's holding a sign that says, "Bye, Milton and Helen."
I don't know.
Wilton and Helen?
Wilton
and Helen.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's a... Oh, there's a steak that says 100% beef. It says, "They not like us."
Do you like the beer? That's the question. What do you
And
think
a
of
big
this
old
beer?
ship says Baltimore Strong. The beer is quite good, actually.
Yeah, it's really
It's
delicious,
a very well balanced IPA.
a delicious
with
double
a little
dry
bit
hopped
juicy to it.
IPA. I'm starting to think that anytime an IPA is double dry hopped, it's something I am really kind of going to be inclined to like.
Agreed.
That just seems like a really balanced, well focused way to have a very hoppy beer that doesn't like assault you with
That doesn't
resin and
assault you
pine
with-
cone.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well said.
I like this very much. Tupps Brewing out of the state of Texas. Those guys are from, just going to check my notes so I get this right. I think
McKinney, I think you said?
McKinney, Texas. Yep.
McKinney.
I think that's right, McKinney, Texas. So, wow, very impressive. We will get to more of our list and more beers, and even some tequila from Prefiero Tequila. I said it right this time. We'll be right back. Well, I like the clanking of the Glencairns. That's a new thing.
I wanted you to hear that I was getting glasses out.
Nice. I like it. I like it. For those who are listening on the radio, that was a telltale sign.
Yeah.
Tequila is headed our way.
I feel like I'm in the Walt Disney sound effect studio right now.
So, where they used to take the coconuts and do the horse clup, clup.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Some great stuff. Hey, so Ian is pouring tequila, which is the Prefiero tequila, Anejo. And Prefiero, as a word, reminds me of a car that an ex-girlfriend used to have. Do you remember the Pontiac Fiero?
Oh, yes.
Oh, the Fiero, yeah.
Yes, of course.
So
we all knew a girl that had a
Sure.
Fiero.
So I had an ex-girlfriend that had one, and when we were dating, I took to driving it a lot. And let me tell you, that was a fun, sporty little piece of crap is what it was. That car started falling apart after she'd made the third payment on it. I'm not kidding.
No.
Did that have a
it was-
mid-engine or was it front engine?
I think it was back, wasn't it?
Or back-
I think it was a
Yeah,
back engine. Yeah, it was a back engine.
Yeah, and it was cute, man. That was a great looking little car.
They were a
but
thing for a
boy, was it a piece of junk.
Was it really?
It really was. I'm sorry to say, and that's why you never see one now. Like you'll see,
you're right. You never see them.
You'll see Mustangs and other cars from that era.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but you will
Even the
not see a
Honda
Fiero.
Soul.
Oh yeah, which is I think what I drove while she had the Fiero.
Wow.
But,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to drive her Fiero all the time. Zip around. It was really good, except you leave a fender on the side of the curb somewhere.
So it just literally was
it would
falling
just,
apart.
Stuff would fall off that car
It
like
just
crazy.
lets go of stuff.
It was like it had car leprosy. It was just like falling off.
I was taking my daughter to school yesterday, and she looked, and you know how sometimes accidents happen or whatever. She goes, "Look, there's just a car part on the road." And it was one of those huge, just giant bumpers.
Yeah.
And it was in the median of San Felipe, right in the nice area.
Yeah, that used to belong to a car.
Yeah.
Maybe a Fiero.
Yeah.
Maybe a Fiero.
Maybe a Fiero.
But Prefiero is not the same thing.
Prefiero.
Is this tequila, and it is an añejo, and Ian has poured it. So before we get back into the cigar list, which we will never finish.
Oh, smell that.
Yes. Take that nose on that.
baby.
I noticed on this too that you had cleared the plastic off the top and
Well, as
then poured a little off. Now I did have some spillage, so pouring a little off the top like
maybe
you
I
did.
maybe I didn't pour enough.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what happened.
As those of you who listened to our show last year may know, often before I bring in a beverage like this tequila, I will remove the plastic wrap from the front, because if Ian were to cut himself, like a plastic cut, this could be a very dangerous thing, number one, for Ian, but also it could be really bad for our, insurance rates
then I'm
here
going
at
to
the
go
show.
for workers' comp because of a plastic cut from opening a...
So it is part of an OSHA regulation, and part of why we clear
you
that.
generally will clear the neck of the bottle,
And that's just for convenience, to minimize spilling.
Minimize any spillage as we tip the bottle into a glass. Yes.
So that way we don't, don't venture into uncharted territory. But we have a little of it here. Prefiero tequila. I love what I'm getting on the nose.
The nose on this is amazing.
Yeah. What are you picking up?
Coconut.
Slight pepper.
Agave. Some pepper.
Yeah. So I get the agave. I get the obvious tequila notes.
Yeah.
But I get a little bit of coconut. I get like a coconut oil almost. I get
Yes, there is a coconutty and
like
some oil.
Vanilla. There's the black pepper that's evident a lot of times with it. There's something else in there that I'm not getting.
Ooh. Like a caramel?
Maybe there's something sweet in there.
Yeah,
there's definitely so I've taken my first sip. There's definitely some caramel there, but what I want to say is pepper and butter.
Oh, yes, when you take that sip, wow.
Butter, baby.
It's like you took butter, put it into a skillet, like how you take a little chunk of a stick of butter, you put it into a skillet, you watch it, and then it's like you took black pepper and put it on it, and then put that into your tequila. That's what it tastes like. But it's delicious.
Wow.
Smooth,
It's interesting, too, that it's that sweet up front, but it doesn't finish that sweet. It finishes actually very woody and with a kiss of pepper and a tangy kind of earthy note.
Almost an oakiness to the finish, too. That is absolutely delicious.
That's really good tequila. I mean, I have to say, that's really good.
What does a bottle of this set you back?
It's been a little while back since I bought this. I bought this before the holidays, but I want to say it was around $60.
It's interesting because they bent the bottle.
Yeah, the bottle has an interesting curvature to it, which is part of what made it stand out.
It's really cool. That's a heavy bottle, too. Like, that's heavy glass.
Heavy.
I like when you see stuff like this that happens. There's a little wrinkle in the glass right here.
Right, to let you know that it's not just a...
It's like, that's
it looks like it's about $60.
Yeah, is that about right, Terry?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, cool. 60. There's one for 57. There's actually one $69.99 that looks like this is the one.
Prefiero.
If you're going for a high-end tequila, something for sipping, this is really nice. Plus, the bottle looks cool.
Yeah. For $69.99, I'd say this would be worth it, definitely. And if you could get it maybe at some of the other places a little cheaper.
Let's talk about this a little bit, because I've been to a number of restaurants recently where their margaritas are made with a more expensive...
Sorry, lime is what I'm tasting slightly on the back end of this.
I get
that.
Yeah. Kiss of lime, sorry.
And lime would go well with this. Not that I would,
need it, but yes.
Yeah. But I've noticed this trend among, restaurants where they want to make an expensive margarita. And so part of what they do is they make it with an Anejo tequila. I would say to you that if you buy a bottle of this Prefiero and you use it for margaritas, you're dumb.
Here's the thing. You can use it for whatever you want. I'm not gonna
fair enough.
I will tell you this.
If you take a tequila, really good.
If you take a tequila that has some delicate notes in here and some complex notes in here, that like what this has, you really are wasting the tequila at this point, because you can get as good a flavor with something close to this that costs half of this.
Well,
in a margarita.
Yes, in a margarita. I will tell you, my go-to right now for margaritas is El Amo tequila.
El Amo's fantastic,
and I was using the Reposado, and my specs where I shop was out of the Reposado in the big bottle because we make margaritas a lot, so I buy the big bottle. So I was like, okay, I'll just get the big bottle of the Blanco. You know what? It's just as good. It's just as good, and it's cheaper.
Wow.
Yeah, so it really depends on what else you're putting in the margarita. What I would say to you is it's okay to use a margarita mix, but if you do, you'd still need to do a little fresh squeezed lime.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
That
Just
will make
liven it up.
That will make the mix come alive in your margarita. But I wouldn't use this. You know what I might do? I might actually make a margarita with this just to see. Is there any difference?
It would probably be really good with a quality like this. But interestingly enough, I used to not think of tequila as the sipping drink. I just used to not. I used to not think of it like whiskey, where I think of you're supposed to sit there and sip it. But I have, as I've learned about some of these different, like this Prefiero. Wow, this. I mean, it really is for sipping. I mean, some of this really is.
I had that awakening a long time ago, and that was when I will tell you that my life changed. Mm-hmm. That was a big because tequila is actually, of all the spirits, tequila is actually my favorite. Mm-hmm. I'm like Guillermo on Jimmy Kimmel. I'm a tequila guy, right? Yeah. I absolutely love it. And
I am so much the whiskey guy.
I know this, yeah. But I've learned a lot about whiskey after being on the show with you and developed new appreciations
I didn't know that I would love tequila until after we started this show.
Yeah, exactly.
It took a while. I've got these two little floaties in here I'm trying to get.
I noticed you were like playing in your tequila.
I am.
It's playing in this tequila.
I can't get them.
Son, don't play with your tequila. Just drink it.
All right. While you chase the floaties, let me try to knock a couple more cigars off this list, or we're never going. We're going to be 3 weeks from now going, okay, so here's the top 10. Number 19 on the list is from Herrera Esteli, the Drew Estate line. It is their Norteño Lonsdale.
The Norteño is a great cigar.
This is really Willie Herrera is the master blender at Drew Estate in Nicaragua. He has been for about the last 10 years, and his influence is probably most evident, Cigar Aficionado says, in the brand that bears his name, which is Herrera Esteli. The brand performed strongly in the rankings, and this pressed Lonsdale, they say, is a full-bodied, leathery smoke with notes of toasted pecan and licorice before a latte finish. It is on the list, number 19.
I got the floaties.
Okay, it's good to know. I don't know what it was, but I'm glad you got it.
I don't either. I'm sure they're sterilized too. Herrera Esteli. Sorry, I'm still on track with you. Herrera Esteli. Pretty damn good cigar.
Yeah, it's hard to go. It really is hard to go wrong with those. At number 18 on the list, the 601 La Bamba Warhead X.
La Bamba. I've had one of those. I don't know if it's the Warhead X, but I've had one of the Warhead cigars. I don't know if there's more than one.
If you were to just take a guess at what cigar master blender might have put together the La Bamba Warhead X, which makes it showing at number 18 on the list, who would you think it might be?
It wouldn't happen to have. It wouldn't happen to go by two initials and then a last name.
Yeah, you're right. AJ Fernandez.
That guy.
This guy is all over this list. It's an all Nicaraguan blend, including a broadleaf wrapper, which is usually grown in Connecticut, but in this case grown in Nicaragua. And it is, they say, a nice melange. That was their word, not mine.
Nice.
Of Middle Eastern spices, graham cracker, and a wisp of licorice, all achieving balance before it drops into an orange honey note that explodes. Again, their words, not mine. On to the finish. La Bamba.
It's La Bamba. Come on.
Warhead X.
I don't know that you're supposed to use explodes and La Bamba in the same sentence.
It definitely will get us demonetized on YouTube. There's no question about that.
Dude, let me tell you about being demonetized on YouTube.
Yeah, at this point, we have to pay YouTube. That's where we are.
When I look at the YouTube account and it talks about our monetary and that we're sharing monetary with other people who have like the songs and stuff like that, I'm like, well, they're getting as much as I am.
The Palencia Cocheca 151 La Musica is number 17 on the list.
This is good.
And I think we all know that La Musica is Spanish for the música.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. And Plasencia makes great cigars. This one
really
I've had,
do.
and it's fantastic.
Yeah. And this is a small cigar. It's a 5x50. It is $13.50 suggested retail. But this baby is, they say it consists mostly of Criollo 98 tobacco, and they say every puff of this Robusto this is Cigar Aficionado speaking, is like taking a bite of Christmas fruitcake as a course of baking spices, candied fruit, molasses, and walnut notes all harmonize, leaving a rum barrel finish to bring the whole holiday effect home.
Smoke rings that I blew with these oak, brownie batter, coffee, cinnamon, and pecan. I gave it a 6.
I like brownie batter. That works for me.
I gave it a 6 on my rating.
At number 16 on the list, the Perdomo 30th anniversary sun-grown Epicure. I don't know if... I know I've had several of the anniversary cigars from Perdomo. I don't know if I've had this sun-grown, but I'm excited. It's an all-Nicaraguan cigar, aged in bourbon barrels, and the tobacco blend was 15 years old before rolling. They say oak.
Wow, I haven't had that one.
Oak, leather, caramel, and nougat, and it is number 16 on the list, which means... we're up to the top 15.
All right.
And we'll get to that when we return. Also, drinking news is right around the corner, and we still have some Imperial Stout to taste. The show is not over, my friends. Stand by. It is Smoking and Toasting.
I know I refilled yours.
Are you sure?
You may have drank some.
During the break, I went to the restroom. Were you guys like sampling my tequila while I was gone?
No, I refilled it. You
No, you
definitely
refilled
drank
it.
some since I refilled it.
We
suppose that
started
might be the
talking and
case.
then drinking.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits like this Prefiero tequila.
Strangely enough,
and
the
hand-rolled
conversation
cigars.
during the break was not all about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
It was mostly about Norm Macdonald.
Although it was damn close because it was about Norm Macdonald. Yeah. So, yeah. Sometimes I think we should just do the outtakes. Like that should be its own show.
Yeah.
you
That
know?
would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a Patreon thing.
Completely inappropriate. Like, so,
Oh, yeah.
So don't join our Patreon if you were easily offended by.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the
If you're easily
90s.
offended by us,
Yeah,
maybe just
it's
watch the
90s.
highlights.
Yeah, it's the 90s. So welcome back to our list. The Cigar Aficionado did this list of the top 25 cigars of the year. We're only up to number 15. So let's get to this while we
Why are
sip a
you
little
reading
more.
this so slow?
I don't know. It's just
So we can enjoy tequila.
at number 15, the Romeo and Julieta Wide Churchill. The Wide Churchill.
Sounds like an insult to Churchill.
Yeah. Now,
So this is just
this
one
is-
of their standard cigars, but in a wider size.
no, this is a Cuban cigar.
Oh, this is the Cuban
This one
Okay.
is a Cuban. So it's the first Cuban one we've gotten to on the list. They asked, what happens when you take a benchmark Cuban cigar like the Romeo and Julieta Churchill and make it shorter and fatter? The answer is the Wide Churchill, which is one of the thickest cigars, they say,
Have you had-
in the Cuban portfolio.
Have you had a Romeo and Julieta, the Cuban?
I have had a Romeo and Julieta Cuban.
So nutty.
Yes.
So earthy.
Big time.
So delicious. Like, they're good. They're great.
I had a buddy of mine a number of years ago who, for my birthday, sent me a FedEx package with 10 Cuban Romeo and Julieta Robustos in it. And at first, I'm like, these are probably counterfeit. The counterfeits are so bad. Those were some of the best cigars I've ever smoked.
No, when you light them, you'll know.
Yeah, they were some of the best cigars I've ever smoked.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those Cuban purists. Quite frankly, I think I prefer Nicaraguan cigars to Cuban cigars. But that batch of 10 cigars, man, after I smoked the first one, I hoarded those. Like, they lasted me for a couple of years because I wouldn't smoke them unless it was a special occasion. But I've got too many special occasion cigars in my humidor now, so I'm just decided to
All
just go
right,
ahead and
I'm
smoke
coming
them.
over.
Yeah, exactly. You are both invited.
Actually, I've got a couple cats that we found homes for, so we're going to invite you over pretty soon.
Oh, okay. So the
now
cat.
that I can put my living room back together without having to have like this whole cat section.
I love
Cat
this.
City?
Cat
You have a
sanctuary.
cat section
Cat
walled
sanctuary.
off.
Sanctuary.
Yeah. Over here's their castle. Over here's their dominion.
Well, so I have a dog. They have to have a place where they can get away from the dog because the dog wants to play.
That is brave. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the dogs always want to play, even if they aren't chasing the
and
cat.
she is an adorable 70-ish pounds.
I just want to point out earlier you asked
Dainty
me
little lap dog.
earlier you asked me why I was moving so slowly through the list. This would be why. We're now talking about cats and dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. The
Dogs and cats, people living together.
Mass hysteria.
The Romeo and Julieta Wide Churchill, they say, is earthy and leathery, accented by notes of graham crackers, cinnamon, orange peel, and honey. So if you have a chance to get your hands on some of those, I say go for it. Number 14 on the list, you can find this one at your local cigar emporium. The Casa Magna Colorado XV Anniversary.
Ooh, haven't tried that.
6x54. It's a $15 cigar. It's made by Casada, because Casada does make the Casa Magna brand, and they found this one to be absolutely wonderful. The Nicaraguan wrapper, they say, on the original has been replaced by an oily leaf of Ecuadorian Habano 2000, which gives it a bold, leathery character, balanced by sweeter, dessert-like aspects of caramel notes and coffee with a sweet nougat finish. I want to smoke one of these right now.
That sounds amazing.
That is unbelievable. So that
I may
list,
have been drinking, and that sounds like food.
that on our list comes in at number 14. At number 13, oh man, in 2019, former brothers and former New York City cigar retailers, Billy and Gus Faki, founded their own cigar company called Artesano del Tobacco. The preliminary release was Viva la Vida, an all-Nicaraguan line made by... I'm searching for the name here. It's on the tip of my tongue. AJ Fernandez, who also grew the tobacco. This is the third time that the Viva La Vida Cigar Company has placed a cigar in Cigar Aficionado's top 25 year-end list.
And how many years they've been around?
Just like since 2019. Third time since 2019. Yeah. This is the second
3
time.
out of 4 right there, buddy.
The second time that the Jester has been on the list. An impressive feat, they say, for a company that is only half a decade old. So very cool. And you just, hats off to AJ, man.
Maybe
the guy's a genius.
maybe get a blender, right?
Yeah, maybe get a blender. At number, what is this, number 13 on the list? Wait, I have to go back to see. Oh, number 12, the Axum Claro Robusto. This is one of their one of the cigars from the I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Foundation Cigars.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. This is a really good cigar, they say. It used to go by a different name, Metapa. They rebranded the cigar in early 2024, but regardless of what it's called,
I didn't know that was the same cigar because I like the Metapas.
Sweet and spicy smoke with solid underpinnings of coffee bean on earth. I'll give you guys one guess who blended it. Just one.
AJ Fernandez?
You are right. And we go to break.
Is Cigar Aficionado's top 25 list or AJ Fernandez best hits.
The AJ.
The greatest
AJ's
hits.
greatest hits. Remixed and remastered. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. That's an interesting sound you're making there, sir.
Doing the best I can, sir.
I just want to mention that as we have continued to sip on this Prefiero tequila, what is interesting to me is that sense of pepper has almost completely gone now, and I'm just getting more butteriness and mellow vibes.
It's pretty fantastic.
Mellow notes. It's really a wonderful drinking tequila, and it's one of those that feels like it gets better and better as you go.
Yes.
And that's not just because you've been drinking, but it's like the flavor becomes even more open and interesting. So that is a perfect prerequisite for us to sip on as Ian pours our next beer and we get ready.
Look at this thing.
For the most popular segment on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Drinking News.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
Drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all.
That singer's a little pitchy right there.
Yeah, he is a little pitchy. I just wanted to say, because Ian forgot his ukulele today, Terry fortunately had captured a previous Drinking News theme song, and so he played that
I didn't
for
know
us.
you were recording me. Oh, wait. That's what we do here.
That's right.
Well, welcome to Drinking News. This is the segment of the program where we bring you stories from the news. They are true, or at least we believe them to be. This is not parody or something made up from The Onion. It's stories we've actually found in the news somewhere, and we bring them to your attention in the segment we call Drinking News. And as we dip our toes into the luxuriously warm bathwater that is 2025, we're able to take a look back at some of the final hijinks of the year that was, which I bring up primarily because I like saying hijinks, and also
that was.
Also accordingly, it's time to reflect on the sage advice of some of the smarter and more thoughtful who have gone before us, like Confucius, for example, who once said, "It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop." Good advice. Yeah.
Push forward no matter what.
Or like the amazingly insightful Stephen Wright, who opined that someone once asked him if he were stranded on a desert island, what book would he bring? And he wisely chose How to Build a Boat.
But he said it like how to build a boat.
Stephen Wright was a beautiful person.
Or like the mystery novelist Rita Mae Brown, who in her 1983 book Sudden Death wrote this: "The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." And it's that quote that brings us headlong into a new year of Drinking News Reports with the story of a shoeless Florida man.
Florida man.
31-year-old Kevin Campagna, who was just arrested for the 35th time.
He's getting good at it.
Wow.
That's just slightly more than one time for every year of his life. If you're counting.
Listen, man, if you want to get good at something,
Yeah.
you have to do it over and over.
You have to stay with it.
There's
Yeah.
only one way to do it.
Repetition.
And this guy has shown commitment
Wow.
to a cause, you know?
Well, like I said, it's just slightly more than one time per year of his life, if you're counting, which hopefully you are, because our math skills here at Smoking and Toasting are highly suspect. Our Florida man's most recent arrest, his 35th, came on the day before Christmas Eve, just a few short weeks ago.
The day before Christmas Eve.
When he was out on bond after his 34th arrest.
Wow.
Which had happened a whopping 5 days earlier.
Hey,
Edgewater,
dude, this guy has an agenda.
Edgewater police
It cannot be denied.
Edgewater police say that Campagna, who once again was not wearing shoes, broke into the Hibiscus Wholesale Auto Parts in Edgewater and stole a car. Now, we will give him credit for being able to steal an entire car from an auto parts shop. Because last time I tried that, all I got was a catalytic converter and a radiator hose. But that's not important right now.
I'll build it one piece at a time.
Officials told a local
Didn't
news
cost me a
outlet
dime.
that Campagna tried to flee police in the stolen car, after which a chase ensued that culminated, wait for it, in a head-on crash with a K9 unit's vehicle.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Because of course it did.
Wait a minute. If you were in there
Yeah.
and you were stealing a car from an auto parts place, put the turbo in there. Right? Put the turbocharger in the car and then get chased by the police.
And
I mean,
then
are we
run into a
surprised?
K9 vehicle.
Yeah, are we surprised
Don't run
he drove
directly
off?
into a K9 vehicle. That will not
Because of,
help with the turbo
because
thing.
of course he did.
Yeah.
Because Florida.
Because Florida man.
Now, here is the most important part of this entire story. The dog was okay.
Good.
Oh, good.
Police did say that Campagna was most recently out on bond after a December 18th arrest on a charge of attempted burglary at a car dealership, Mullinax Ford of Central Florida.
This man has an agenda
Yep.
and will not be denied. This is a person who has a vision and a will to make it happen. He might be president one day.
Someone needs to just give him a car.
And we all know being a convicted felon does not keep you from becoming
Ford
president.
should sponsor this guy.
Yeah. Records show that the Florida man was arrested for the first time on September 18th, 2011, when he was 18 years old. The majority of his documented arrests were for burglary, and most of them involved cars.
Wow. See? Just needs a car.
Now, as
He's
regular
a car
listeners,
lover.
Yeah.
Come on, Chevy, like a rock, man. Put him on there.
Like a rock. Now, as regular listeners,
his head is like a rock.
Yeah, as regular listeners of this segment of our program know, I often find these drinking news stories a bit inspiring. No, they don't inspire me to commit crimes, but they do inspire me often to write poetry. In this particular case, however, it seems that the Edgewater Police Department has beat me to it.
Oh, what?
Yes.
What?
The cops posted their own poem on social media to commemorate Campagna's 35th arrest.
The 35th arrest. They're like, this guy deserves this.
And I would like to share that with you now.
Has he been arrested with the same police force every time?
'Twas the eve of Christmas Eve, and all through the town, a criminal named Kevin was causing a frown. He broke into Hibiscus with no shoes on his feet and stole a customer's car. What a real Christmas treat. But Kevin's crime spree didn't stop there. He drove like a man with nowhere to spare. Through back roads and alleys, he tried to escape, but Edgewater's finest had set the perfect shape. He thought he could outrun, but he couldn't get far when he met canine units head-on in his car. His ride got disabled, and he started to cry, thinking maybe, just maybe, he would get by. Well, Kevin was wrong. We had him that day, charged with burglary, theft, and fleeing the fray. So,
well done.
So here's a reminder from the EPD crew. I like that they have a crew.
Yes,
That works for me.
Yeah.
Here's a reminder from the EPD crew. Don't commit crimes and don't try to flee, too. Merry Christmas to all. And to criminals, a warning. Don't make us work on your holiday morning. We'll catch you. We'll stop you. We'll always prevail. In Edgewater, no one escapes the law's trail.
Wow.
Now, I think you'll admit,
Wow.
that's a pretty decent attempt at poetry for law enforcement officers.
It really is. I want to know who did that. That is,
you know.
But being a semi-professional drinking news reporter and something of a legend in my own shower when it comes to poetry myself, I thought it might be fun to try my hand at a poem about this incident.
Okay. We're going head to head now.
To see if you like my poetry or the cops' poetry better. And so, with apologies to the proper authorities, and at risk of violating a very specific court order about sharing my inner thoughts with all of you, I would like to present this bit of prose. Now, normally here I would ask for some poetry reading music.
I'm sorry.
You'll have to imagine it in your heads, folks. Now, I am breaking out creatively just a little bit today.
Just for those of you just tuning in, normally I would have a ukulele.
Yes.
And I would play very intense and emotional music right now.
Again, hear this in your mind. I know you can do it, right? I'm breaking out of my creative
I would probably
auspices.
choose like D minor. It's the saddest of all keys.
It's saddest of all keys. In place of my normal iambic pentameter, Google it, I'm presenting today's prose in the form of a stream of consciousness, or a really bad haiku, that follows almost none of the rules of a haiku. This is me empowering my own sense of artistic freedom.
And it's a haiku.
And it goes a little something like this. Shoeless in the night. Auto parts. Starters. Fuel pumps. Timing belts. Then a car. But alas, a chase. A crash. The dog is fine. Florida man, jail. Cellmate, Bubba. Don't drop the soap.
I got to tell you, man.
I think that deserves a round of snaps.
Reporting live.
I have a little bit of a tear in my eye.
Yeah, but just a little bit.
And that touched me.
Reporting live from Edgewater, Florida, where I repeat.
I could show you on the doll where it touched me.
Where I repeat, the dog is fine. My name is Cruz, and that is your...
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it again here, right?
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a case of
intro, not the
outro. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
What did you do to Roberto to make him sound like that?
He was all quiet.
He was like,
sheepish.
thoughtful. And yeah. When I think of the adjectives that best describe Roberto, thoughtful does not top the list. He's a fine man, but, thoughtful. All right, number 11 on our list of cigars. We got to get back to this or we'll never get through it by the end of the show. La Aroma de Cuba's Pasión Box Press Torpedo. It is a $12.20 cigar made by my father. And when Ashton, they say, introduced the original La Aroma de Cuba line in 2002. Your father makes
great cigars.
It was made in Honduras. Today it's produced in Nicaragua by my father. And one of the more recent versions is the Pasión line. They say it is leathery and spicy at its core, complemented by notes of minerals and a sweet hint of cinnamon that ushers in a cedary finish. That is a, what did I say, $12.20? Yeah, $12.20 torpedo. So do we want to delve into the top 10 or we want to taste this beer first? Oh, you've already tasted the beer, haven't you?
Yes.
All right. So this is Bourbon Barrel Night Whale. It is an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels from the fine folks. By the way, bourbon barrels came from New Riff Distilling. And the fine folks at the brewery, what brewery did I say this is from? I'm sorry. I was looking for it on the.
You keep
here we go.
it on
Rhinegeist Brewing Company in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
All right, your thoughts, sir?
Have you tried it yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Ooh.
Let's get you to try it first.
It's wonderful on the nose.
It is a beautiful nose. But let's.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to give you my opinion.
Yeah. This is very boozy.
It's kind of soy sauce.
Now, it's interesting because this is not an old bottle.
No, but it's kind of soy sauce.
It's vintage 2022, aged 12 months. But I would say
that puts it at a year old right now, basically.
But I would say I got this maybe just a few months ago.
This is very soy sauce.
You are right. It is very soy sauce. Terry, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not, yeah. as unfamiliar as, I mean, as ungood as I am at judging this particular kind of beer.
Here's the thing. This says, this shadowy Leviathan aged in bourbon barrels is breaching the surface singing its sonorous song resounding with notes of toasted oak, roasted malt, dark chocolate, and vanilla. As elusive as it is colossal, Night Whale is sure to swing open the great floodgates of the Wonder World. It's kind of soy sauce.
Ian, I've got to agree with you. This is not great.
It's not good. It's not bad. It's drinkable, but it's kind of soy sauce.
Yeah.
Okay, so things that are positive about it, 15%.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's going to work.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it's going to work. Definitely vanilla. Chocolate and roasted malt are there, but again, it's a bit soy sauce. It's not translating here.
I'm disappointed. I had high hopes for this one.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break. Do you think in our final segment, which is just a little over 7 minutes long, we can cover the top 10 cigars on this list?
We're going to have to hustle.
All right. We'll get to it next. It's Smoking a Toast. Welcome back. It's Smoking a Toast, and our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And I want you guys to know I missed you over the holiday break.
Yeah. I miss you too, bro.
This was like, it was nice to have a break because we did so many shows so close together trying to get ready for the holidays. But then, like, over the break, I was like, I miss kind of drinking with my buddies.
Hanging out with the buds. Yeah.
You had a time where you were not feeling very well, too.
Well, yeah. My wife and I came back from, a little getaway to San Antonio. We got back, and the next day, The next day, got sick within 10 minutes of each other.
See, that's a shame when you got your time off and then that's what happens.
Plus, you know what's even worse? When you're not feeling good and your partner is also not feeling good, so they can't like totally dote on you.
Take care of you.
And
Yes.
take care of you.
Y'all are like taking turns of, all right, I'll go to the kitchen now.
Yeah, right. It was awful. Anyway, but we're
like, I'm too tired to order from Uber Eats.
let me tell you how bad it was. I didn't smoke a cigar for 2 days. That's how bad it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to fill you in.
That's when you know. That's when you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, speaking of cigars, let's get through the rest of this list. This is Cigar Aficionado's Top 25 of the Year for 2024. At number 10 is the Brick House Churchill.
Bum, 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 bum,
And it is an $8.85 cigar, a remarkably tasty smoke, they say, showcasing a complex flavor profile of wood, leather, and nuts with sweet spices and a cappuccino finish. And they say that this one punches well above its weight class, making it one of the biggest bargains in the top 25.
Brick House, man. Brick House makes great cigars.
Arturo Fuente's Eye of the Bull comes in next on our list at number 9. The creative well, they say, never seems to run dry at Arturo Fuente Cigar Company, and that has to do with the imaginative mind of Carlos Carlito Fuente Jr., whose quirky cigar names and fantastic blends add up to unforgettable experiences. This is, I encourage you to go and read about this. This is a very small cigar. It is 3.5 inches long with a 55 ring gauge. So it's almost like a smaller version of like a nub.
Don't be a size queen, man.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Anyway, the Eye of the Bull. That's what they say. They like it. The Cuban Cohiba Maduro 5 Magiosos or Magicos comes in next on the list. It is number 8, and they the price on it is £77. So do your own translation, but this is a very
like
expensive, very expensive Cuban cigar.
Yeah.
Comes in at number 8 on the list. At number 7, though, is the Rocky Patel Conviction Toro.
That's
this is the
good cigar.
$100 Rocky Patel cigar.
Oh, that's not the one I was thinking. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had that one. That's the one you wanted for Christmas.
Yeah, which, by the way, I didn't get. I kept going back to my stocking and looking like, did I miss something? There's a lump of coal. There's, I don't.
Sorry.
I don't see my Rocky Patel from Ian.
I'm sorry, my paltry Christmas gift wasn't good enough.
They said they found Cigar Aficionado said they found the Conviction brilliant, a medium to full-bodied cigar that's a superb performer, delivering an opulent core of cocoa powder and dark chocolate flavor. But honestly, and I just asked this, I understand this is a list, and if they think that is the 7th best cigar of the year, that's great. But how good does the cigar have to be for $100? Really?
So,
how much better does it need to be than your other cigars?
I feel actually slightly vindicated for Rocky Patel that their $100 cigar made the top 10 cigar of the year.
Well, at least it did.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're going to spend $100, it should be a really good cigar. Yeah. And I get also that the proceeds are going to the proceeds for a lot of these cigars that are $100 and more are going to a charity. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're spending $100 on a cigar, it should be really good.
Well, Ian, let me ask you this question. Would you rather spend $100 on the number 7 cigar or just under $17 on the number 6?
What's the number 6, buddy?
It's the Oliva Serie V Melania Maduro Torpedo.
God damn, it's such a good cigar.
Yeah. It hit the market in 2013, and it has been impressing ever since.
Baby, I love you.
Every puff is loaded with sweet wood, sea salt, and dried fruit, but the tapered head of the torpedo seems to concentrate the smoke for another dimension of flavor. Anytime the word Melanio appears on a cigar, it's going to be good. I can say that with great conviction. Number 5 on the list, the Partagas Linea Maestro. This is a Cuban cigar, so I won't tell you too much about it unless you can get your hands on one. But the Partagas Linea Maestro is on the list at number 5. So if you can find your Cuban cigars, smoke them if you got them. Padron Series 1926, number 6, Comes
That's a
in
great cigar.
Comes in at number 4 on the list. It is just north of $17. The second smallest cigar in the line, but it packs impressively big flavor with complex notes that bathe the
That whole
palate.
1926 series is amazing.
Chocolatey smoke, along with notes of espresso, coffee, and an earthy character backing up the sweetness. That comes in at number 4. At number 3, the EP Carrillo Encore Celestial.
We knew EPC was going to be on this list.
Between $13 and $14 per cigar.
I'm super surprised I haven't seen them up to this point.
Yeah, actually. This year they say they honor a different size in the brand, the Encore Celestial. It is a Dominican cigar made entirely of Nicaraguan tobacco. So Nicaraguan tobacco, they assemble it in Nicaragua, in the Dominican Republic, and it comes in at number 3 on our list. Number 2, I have been smoking this cigar, several of these over the past couple of weeks, and I can say it absolutely deserves its spot at number 2. The Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary Nicaragua
hell yeah.
Espeso. And this
Dude,
is...
when I reviewed that last year, I was like, this is one of the best cigars I've had.
Yeah. It's just absolutely wonderful. It is consistent. It is complex. It is full-bodied. It is A.J. Fernandez at his best. Number 1 on the list.
Number 1.
The MF and Judge. My father, the Judge, Gran Robusto. And
Great cigar.
I love that when you look at
the Judge.
When you look at the label, it says MF, the Judge. And that's exactly what it is. So there's your list. We made it through. Unbelievable. We had tequila to help us, and this has been a lot of fun. Ian, real quick, coming up in the next couple of weeks on the show.
Oh man,
I know we have William Price on the
William Price
Robin from
next.
William Price.
Doc's coming
Coming
up.
up next week. Doc's is coming up.
Yeah, so we got William Price. We got come on. Let me.
And then Doc's right after that.
On the 20th, the Spiky Fots returns. Doc's.
He calls himself. There it is.
He calls himself the Spiky Fots because he says he's a friend of the show, Fots, and when he's on, the ratings
coming up too.
Spike.
True Anomaly Brewing coming up after that. Liliana Rodriguez is going to be on.
Love it.
Our agave specialist.
And
then we're going into March. We're going to have Trey Andrews with EPC. Albert Cisneros, who is Smoking Swans.
It's going to be a lot of fun,
Production's
folks.
going to be great.
Hope you will stay with us for the show. Have a great week, and welcome to 2025. Cheers, y'all.
There she goes, there she goes.